I know I haven't been fully a companion to you for some while. This war requires the whole of me, and it's no easy matter being a leader.
It's not that easy being married to one either.
Churchill stars Brian Cox as the title character. Miranda Richardson plays his wife, a very important person in Churchill's life. It all takes place over a very few days during World War II. And when I began to interview them, I asked them if they would sort of set the scene.
Probably it's the 3 days up, or 3 or 4 days up to the D-Day landings, and the demurring of Churchill about these landings. And it was amphibious landings that he was against because he'd actually experienced a tragedy in the Dardanelles. So this was a thing that I think plagued Churchill. The reason it plagued Churchill, in what I think it's legitimate, is because immediately after the Dardanelles campaign, he resigned. And he went to the front as a major in the Royal Scots Dragoons. Yeah. He resigned. And so therefore, that, whatever you call it, is a sort of act of penance on his part.
He sort of vacillated between supreme self-confidence and the exact opposite. And Miranda, isn't that sort of where your character was supportive?
Yes, we know that he suffered from great depression, tracts of time in Great Depression, and she was able to be supportive of him, entirely supportive, but sometimes that support manifests itself in being quite harsh with him. They know each other very well. She knows what he needs to hear at any given time, even if it's hard. You know, her concern is for his well-being and for the well-being of the country, and she knows what he has to be for that to happen, and it's not to do with interfering with the generals in their work. Of course he has those fears, and they're well-founded, but there is always going to be some damage in wartime.
And nowadays, you see, it's very interesting. We know so much about depression. We know so much about it, and in those days, they didn't understand it, and that, of course, that great British stiff upper lip thing was snap out of it, get over it, get on with it. And this
is a weakness.
It's a weakness, and he had to deal with that constantly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Patrick Stoner.
You must remember, Ike, we fought the Germans in France before. Even if you break through in Normandy, even with the massive casualties, civilian and military, what will our boys face in France?
Flicks with Patrick Stoner explores the craft and culture of filmmaking that enhance our communities for television stations and websites around the country.